Hello, friends. I suspect, like many of you, my journey toward generosity has been somewhat irregular, depending on our life circumstances at any given time. I remember that as a kid around confirmation age, I felt the call deeply enough to tithe my babysitting money on the following Sunday. Way back then, we earned about 50 cents or $1 per hour for babysitting 3 kids. So I would often round up to 50 cents on Sunday morning for the Saturday evening sit. In college, I remember sitting in the VU chapel and feeling generous, but very limited because I only had my student aid job and I gave a few dollars some weeks. As a young married to a husband without a church-going background, it was hard to argue for tithing in the family budget. So I gave a little cash extra whenever I could. As a divorced woman with a background of refreshed spirituality through Lutheran Via de Cristo, but also attending graduate school while working full-time, I remember a sense of pride as my generosity could now begin to grow without argument or apparent restriction. My giving has been fairly consistent since then, with a few ups and downs along the way. I always pledge because I think that's important for a lot of reasons, but primarily because I find a challenge in the words of Scripture that say something like, "Where your heart is, there also is your treasure." My giving currently is to the ministries of Trinity, which many of you support, the General Fund, We're Here for Good campaign, plus donations to the food pantry every month, to Gifts of Hope events, and to some community needs. Most recently, my heart has been challenged by the very beginning A Culture of Generosity campaign in which Trinity is now participating. As vice president of the Congregation Council, I thought I should sit in on a couple of Zoom sessions with the consultant just to learn about his ideas of fundraising in congregations, a subject about which I don't know very much. After his first session, I was intrigued by his approach and I bought his book. My first big aha moment came in the book's introduction, page 1. The author mentioned that churches often reflect a scarcity mentality when they consider that their budget must be kept flat in order to meet the current or past level of giving. There isn't enough, so we will cut or keep ministries small to reflect what we currently have or expect to get. If we think there isn't enough, there won't be, says the author, on page 4. Instead, he proposes a mentality of abundance. Aha! There is plenty if we work at it, and maybe even leftovers with which to expand our ministries in the church and in the community. He reiterates the familiar story of Jesus feeding the 5,000 with a few fish and loaves of bread and still having lots of leftovers. So now I'm committed to our stewardship idea and look forward to sharing the enthusiasm of the committee with our congregation to help create this culture of generosity at Trinity. I've been blown away by the generosity of anonymous donors who have pledged a $10,000 challenge gift if we just increase the number of pledges from our members to 65 for 2021. That is amazing generosity right here in our midst. The first step is to commit. That is, to complete a pledge or intention card, no matter the money amount just yet, just the intention to commit. The Congregation Council has also been challenged that every council member will submit an intention card for 21. 65 pledges is reasonable and reachable. The amount of our pledge will always be the personal decision we make after prayerful consideration toward early November for 2021. Now and here, I promise you that I will commit, and I am challenging you to do the same. God's peace and blessings be with you all.